The launch of Google's Pixel line was the company's shift from niche Nexus devices, which were mostly aimed towards enthusiasts, to truly mainstream smartphones aimed towards the everyday smartphone users, with worldwide marketing, ads, and promotions that seem to mostly align with what we'd expect from a mainstream manufacturer. However, looking at the Pixel 1 and the Pixel 5, it's clear that there's been a shift in Google's strategy with the Pixel series over the last 4 years. And it's not hard to spot the results of this change in the smartphones that Google has been releasing over the past year or so. Today I want to talk about that shift and break down why Google's strategy changed so much from the Pixel 1 to the Pixel 5. Some might argue that the original Pixel was never about specs or features or hardware, but you only really have to take a look at the initial launch ad to see that this is completely false. Sure, Google's Pixel line has always been known for its standout software, but the Snapdragon 821 was the fastest chipset around, 4GB of RAM was perfectly acceptable back then, and I wouldn't call its display, battery or charging capabilities particularly middling, especially that last one. 18-watt fast charging was rapid back in the day. Unfortunately, Google has kept the same charging speed in 2020, and so it's rather far behind even some of the mid-rangers that can support up to 65-watt charging. But that is where the Pixel line has been heading. Way less about specs and way more about the software experience. The Pixel 4 was the last Pixel to be aimed towards the premium market with a launch price of $749 US. The Pixel 5 on the other hand is $699 US and comes with a mid-range chipset and really overall mid-range hardware. It's only the really great display that stands out as premium hardware actually. The rest is completely software, which is where Google has been leaning into in 2020. The camera is the perfect example of Google's almost seemingly disinterest in camera hardware. The Pixel 5 uses the same Sony IMX363 main camera sensor as the Pixel 3, a device that launched 2 years ago, and is only a slight upgrade from the IMX362 sensor that was found in the Pixel 2. This is such a stark contrast to the huge sensors that Sony, Huawei and Samsung have been creating recently, with more megapixels, but more importantly, larger photo sites, which allows for more light data and therefore improved dynamic range, sharpness and low light performance. The original Pixel's 12 megapixel sensor was about what you'd kind of expect from Samsung and Apple and everyone else at about the time of the Pixel's release. However, it was the software that really pushed it far ahead. However, now that the others have had a few years to catch up to implement huge and high resolution sensors, Google really does seem to be barely holding on to its top camera spot, and maybe it needs to lean a little less heavily on its software processing for the next gen Pixel to gain its huge lead once again. The Pixel 5 launched for $50 less than the Pixel 1. Well, that doesn't seem like a really big differential on paper. What you need to look at though is the rest of the market to give it some context. The Pixel 1 sat quite comfortably alongside the iPhone 7 and the Galaxy S7 of the time, whereas now the Pixel 5 is significantly cheaper than the iPhone 12 and the Galaxy S20. The Pixel 5 isn't a flagship, and Google is happy treating it like that. What's more telling was the Big G's decision to launch the A line last year and follow it up with a couple of great mid-range devices in 2020. The Pixel 4a is just $349 and the 4a 5G just $499. The latter of which is very similar in specs to the Pixel 5, and the cheapest 4a isn't far off that, so there's not a huge amount distinguishing between the 4a, the 4a 5G and the 5. This narrow slot in the market is Google's proper target. Google has very much put all of its eggs in the mid-range basket, where before it was actually trying its luck with the flagship market. Whether this switch is a result of poor sales in the extremely competitive flagship market is up to debate, but in the US, Google is banking on the lack of great budget devices, compared to the rest of the world, to really sell the bulk of its devices. Conclusion time then. Google started off the Pixel line with an unapologetic flagship. It claimed to be the best above the rest in many key areas, and okay, while not perfect, was new and exciting. It was a flagship in its hardware and its software. As the years went on, Google's lack of success in the high-end almost forced a shift, and the company dipped its toes in the mid-range water with the Pixel 3a. The 3a was incredibly well received, and Google shifted its focus to the mid-range market where it saw success with the 3a, which is roughly where you'll find the 4a, the 4a 5G, and the Pixel 5. Where is the Pixel headed? Well, after a global pandemic, it's unlikely that most will want to drop $1,000 on a smartphone, and with Google's current lineup, it looks to see some success in 2021. Of course, it would be great to see the Big G return to the flagship segment and release a truly groundbreaking smartphone, but for now, I think Google's bet on the mid-range is one that will pay off in the long term. What do you think about Google's strategic shift over the past couple of years? Let us know in the comments below, and let us know if you do want to see like another colossal, amazing Google flagship once again. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do hit like and comment, let us know what you think below. Also, whilst you're down there, subscribe to never miss a video like this one. I've been Ryan Thomas with Android Authority, and I'll catch you later.